Buddy, we're going to go into creative mode here. So let me exit the game. And we'll give everybody a moment to get reconnected and bring the stream back up and all that. And we'll go into creative mode, and I'll share with you some cool little tips and tricks I've learned over the time I've been playing this game. Creative mode's really easy to get to. We'll show you from beginning to end how to get there and what tools are available and what you can do to make some of your life a little bit easier. So we'll give everybody a minute to get back in. We'll let our viewer count catch up and get accurate. Make everything super simple here as I move through these. Feel free to offer suggestions on what you'd like to see demoed today too about the game. I have absolutely no problem creating special videos for you guys so you can see different ways of doing stuff, or if you want to see a review on a ship or anything like that, feel free to put it in chat or ask me in Discord or send me a message. All right? Okay, give me a second here. Okay. Let's go ahead and switch modes. We'll wait for viewers to catch up. Okay, it still says 9 connected over there. Let me refresh this so I can try to keep up with you guys and give you guys enough time to be able to get into the next stream, because it's kind of weird. Doesn't always work. Still says 9 connected, but it hasn't updated here. Okay. Let's go ahead and go back to game and switch back to the stream. There we are. Welcome back, everybody. I'm sure everybody's like, will you stop doing this, Chili? I'm just trying to make it easy on me, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Make it easy. That's all I want. Alright, so we're going to start a game. And we're going to start it in single player. You can also do co-op creative, but I've had problems with co-op creative in the past, off and on, where some textures, when player 1 updates them, player 2 doesn't see them, and some textures work fine. There have been issues. Matter of fact, last year I did a stream on that, and none of it worked right. We were all like, well, this stream's garbage. Guess we're not using that video, are we? So it made creating a walkthrough or a guide on all this just pointless. Alright, so we're going to do single player mode. We're going to use creative. We are going to do this out in space because it makes it easy. No, and we're going to use empty world, even though it doesn't always work that way. And let's click start. I'll show you how to build the tree, what the tree can be used for, all the different little tools that are in there. There's some really cool stuff that a lot of people don't know they can do with that thing. I mean, really cool shit. So we'll wait on this to load. There we are. First thing you'll notice when you say empty world, it doesn't listen to you. So don't even bother clicking it. Just so everybody knows, it doesn't work. God mode works by default. Spawn any blueprint works by default. All of that stuff will actually function as you'd expect. Now, to show you a few things here, this is a base, obviously, and we should not be able to put anything from a CV on it, anything from an SV on it, anything HV specific. None of it should be able to go on this. But there is a workaround, which is something I was explaining to you in the last video I did, which is why a user requested this video. I built, well, actually Erwin built a copy-paste palette, and I maintain my own version. This is the copy-paste palette that I use to bring devices from other structures over to ones they don't belong to. So, let's take, from an SV for example, the warp drive. See, short range warp drive. Hit N. We're going to make our selection. You have to highlight it first. There's our selection. We're going to expand it using the little X with arrows here that says scale selection when you mouse over it. And we're going to go over, we're going to go up, and make sure to envelop the entire thing. There's a little bit hanging off back there. You can click the first block to move one, second block to drag. Pretty easy tool to use. It's very intuitive. A few clicks you can figure out how this works. This isn't complex. Then I can use either a cut or copy tool. In this case, we're going to click copy, and then we're going to deselect with the little minus thing to remove our selection. Then we're going to move over to our base, and we're going to start the process again, but this time using paste. Can't see what you are clicking. Why can't... Oh, I see. Okay, hold on a second. I see what's going on. Give me a second. That is my bad. I totally forgot about all that stuff in the way. Hold on. Let me switch edit. Let me switch sides here. This is kind of a pain, so we'll grab the camera group. We'll grab the server status, and we'll move all of this out of the freaking way. There we go. All right, give me a second here. There we are. Okay. Got it out of the way. My apologies. Hopefully it stays there. Okay, it did. All right. Let's go back to game. Okay. We'll try this again so you can actually see what I'm clicking. Thank you, Blake. So this is our tree. We're going to grab the SV thing here. Just to go back through the instructions. Make your selection. Click the little X. Scale selection to where it envelops the entirety of what you want to collect. Okay. Now we've got the whole thing. Click the copy button. It's the first button. And you can reverse this process off of to make the tree, by the way. I'll show you that next. Now, go back to that menu. We deselect. We re-click selection. We click paste. So I just copied again. I don't know why I did that. It actually drives me crazy. I do that a lot. I really do. It's easy enough, though. It's like, well, let's try not to remember that the next time we build. So copy, deselect, back over here. These videos will be posted on YouTube, by the way. I'm doing it all live. Brave man. Okay, now we reselect. We click paste. That would be the clipboard icon. And there's our structure. Now, it's green. It's not pasted yet. This allows us to be able to move and relocate it and rotate it and the whole bit, which we'll get into. Now, the arrows will move your selection according to which arrows you select. You can click and drag. You can move increments. Pretty freaking easy. And now, I can click paste again to position it. Move selection, and we have pasted an SV's short range warp drive to a base. Statistics, base. And that's how you take stuff across different types of vehicles and whatnot. Now, if I want to take a furnace and put it on an SV, it's a similar process. I see the furnace there. Now, I know these are two different block sizes, so you're really curious as to how that works. It auto scales. It's the craziest thing. So we take and pull in an SV. Let's say the miner. Yeah, we'll pull in the miner. Let's say we want to put a furnace on the miner, for example here. Good example of something we would not want to put it on, but hey, whatever. We would have to first make sure we have the space for it, which is 3 by 3 by 3. Disco miner, yep. Let's make sure we have the space. We have 1 block of space here, 2 blocks of space here. Oh no, we have flares. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Now, the reason you use shift right click to delete things is because you can undo them. So if I make a change I don't like, I can undo the change. If you use the tool, multi-tool to do it, you cannot do that. You will not get the ability to undo anything. So always remember, shift right click, you'll be able to undo things. Makes it really nice. Now we got to grab the furnace, base furnace. We're going to hit N. We're going to click it. We're going to expand our selection. 2 by 2, so we've got a 3 by 3 cube. We copy it from here, deselect, Go over here to our lunatic vessel, hit N, pick a selection point again, click paste. Now we can position it as we want, and click paste again. And now that SV has a furnace on it. Look at that. And the furnace is 100% usable as long as you have the power to be able to use it. And devices, go down to the bottom, and there's our furnace. Yeah, it's really easy. Stupid easy, it really is. Now, you can build this tree in the same fashion. So let's say I take a couple of starter blocks here. Let's start with, let's see here. There we are. We're going to need a base starter, small vessel starter, a capital starter, and an HV starter. Now, when I build the tree, I chose the SV starter for building my tree. So, get away from all this stuff so we can forget about it. And let's go ahead and drop an SV starter in here. Now, you can take everything that belongs on an SV and put it on it, and copy it to another different type of blueprint if you want to. In our case, I build the tree from it because it's small. You can pilot it anywhere you want, so you can move it. So it makes it really freaking easy to use. Which means I have a manageable tree. So I can build some blocks out, and put everything for an SV on those two rails. And I can put a little pilot seat on it and fuel tanks and whatever else I need over time so that I can pilot this darn thing around the orbit I'm working in. Now I can put everything from an SV on it, on the tree. So let's grab some SV stuff. We're going to limit it to SVs. And we're going to grab specifically stuff that are for the SV alone. Block over, which would be SV generator. Oh, fuel tank. 2 tank. We're just going to grab all the small stuff that we need. Some examples here. And we're going to put them on here in whatever form. And you can build this however you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. I have a thrusters section and all that stuff on the other one. Now we've got some devices for an SV on here. And you would build out your entire tree like this. You can flip them over and put them on top. And however you decide to put together your model tree, you can do that. Once we're done, we can take and we can put out a CV starter block somewhere close by and do the same thing with all the CV stuff. Now we switch to CV mode, pull down blocks, and we'll give this thing a little bit of girth so we can get a few items on it from CVs. Okay, now we can take a CV item, place it down, which you've already got that selected, like a thruster XL, for example. Now it's down. Now we can use our end menu, like I showed you earlier. Selection, select size. I want to make sure we envelop the whole thing here. And that way. And let's circle around it to make sure we got everything in the square. Oh, we missed the top there. Hit N again. There we go. Now we can click copy. And we can go over to the little SV area and create a new area here for CV stuff. And you can put signs and all that stuff on if you choose to do so. You can do that. That's what I did for mine. Well, actually, that's what Arrowin did, and like I said, I just continued building it. Now we can use that paste tool, and we can paste that thruster over here. Oh, we gotta select. Click paste. Alright. Now we can position it. Let's get to an area where we can see. Up. Over a few. Go, and paste. And now, we've got the start of our CV section. Isn't that cool? And you can do this for all the different devices, all different base types, and build yourself a model tree similar to what I have. It does take some time. It is a little bit time consuming. I just hand it out to people, but I didn't make it. So this is not my blueprint. Arrowin went through the work for this. I did not. But that's eventually what you're trying to build to, is And the items will change sizes according to what structure you're putting them on. So again, smaller size, less space, pilotable, it's movable. Using SVs to build your model tree. Yep, this is how I built all the special ships. That makes it stupid simple. There used to be a much harder process back in the day for doing this, but we no longer have to do it that way. So this simplifies things. And then as they update and they change stuff around, we update and we change stuff around. And then it allows me to experiment with vehicles really well too. Like, can we put down more than one of this and does it help? You know, that's how we found out that only one of these Pentaxid tanks are usable. The second one does you no fucking good. That's how we found out that you could take 2 shield generators and use one as a backup. So if the first shield gen fails or gets, lag shotted out, you have a second one to fall back on. It just takes over the job of the first. We found out a lot of stuff through this kind of experimentation that we could do with the game, kind of exploit the mechanics a little bit, where we're allowed to do it. Some things are hard-coded to specific vehicle types, like your grow plots. Last I knew, grow plots do not actually grow on SVs. We have not tried that this season, however, and with all the new changes, it's potentially possible that they will work on an SV. So we can try that. So if we go out... Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream, Jamani. Yeah, we're doing pretty well. I'm showing streams on stuff and giving people some walkthroughs and tutorials to work with and trying to kind of help shore up the documentation problem with a few things and maybe help improve some other servers in the process. That's always possible. Who knows? I don't know who's going to use these videos. I really don't. But yeah, it's going pretty well. Having a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab a grow plot from a CV using the same process we have been, and we're going to see if they'll work. So when I do these kind of tests, in 2 ways. I'll build it in creative, bring it over to survival, spawn it, see how it works. We're going to do one of those tests live here, since we're going over all the creative mode stuff. Yeah. I wasn't going to mention that because it's been patched, so... Alright. So the current experiment I'm going to run is I'm going to find out if grow plots from CVs and bases could potentially work on an SV yet. I don't expect it to, because that's one of those vehicle-dependent things. Yeah, a harvest module from an HV will in fact work on a CV. And an SV. Absolutely will. We've done that experiment before. So let's grab... Let's see here. This would give use to HVs on our server, which we can't spawn here. So we're going to go down to planet. Let's just choose the light side here. Not build planet side, so I can clear your cache. That might actually help. There's a lot of cache-related issues this season that are kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with it. Alright, so we're now on planet. We're going to place down this little start of our HV. Started our HV. We're going to pull up the copy-paste palette. Actually, you know what? We'll pull up the base thing here. This will also be easy enough to just copyright. There's our base thing. Let's see here. We'll build a little area for the garden plots. A 3x3 plot will be more than enough to run our experiment on. So let's go ahead and create that. It needs a little area above it. There we go. That's for our light. That's for our grow plots. Let's hit H. Let's grab... We're already in CV. Let's go to blocks. Grab grow plots. We'll grab steel ones. Make it easy. We also need grow lights. Let's grab grow lights. And we need a couple of seedlings. We can go here. We'll pick out 9 seedlings. Now, yeah, it's usually what happens. Again, I go back to the launcher that we use. God, that launcher helps people out so much. It really does. You can back up everything, do a clean install, restore everything, and done like an Etch-a-Sketch never freaking happened. It's so freaking useful. So anyways, let's go ahead and put in our grow plots. All right, they're in. Let's put in our light. All right, now, the reason we did it this way is because we're just going to copy this and paste it on an HV thing and throw on the HV generators and stuff. So, we are going to take this little section in the middle along with the grow light, and we're just going to plop it right on top of this HV vessel. That's what we're going to do with it. Before we get that far, though, we want to mark forward, and then we want to mark rear and the two sides so that we're able to do this. Now, remember, 2 up, 1 over to the center, and our light will have somewhere to paste to. So, basically, our grow plots will take this bottom section completely over, and we'll replace the core after we're done. We're going to move the core to a different location, too. So, we're going to select from here, expand our selection, 2, down 1, and up enough to grab that light, so I can back out and you can see what I'm doing. We're going to copy it, and then we're going to take that section, and we're going to create a new selection here. So N, find a selection, select that block, paste in location, and then we're going to move this to paste right over top of what's currently there. And paste. Selection. Alright, now we've converted our grow plots and our grow light for an HV. Pretty cool. Yeah, some people can use the launcher okay, some people can't. I think you have to have Steam active for the launcher to work. I've got to put something in there to check for that before you try to use it. I haven't put that check in yet. If Steam's not already working, the launcher does not function. It requires heavily on Steam. How is it possible? How is what possible? This, what I just did? You'll see this video on YouTube and you'll get a run through on how all this works, Bromius. I promise. It will go to YouTube as soon as its 48-hour time limit is popped up. If nothing else, you can watch the videos when I'm done too. No, anywhere you place the launcher, it can find your directories and do everything on its own. It's got all that built in. Yeah, these videos will show how to do that too. It's the same process for all of it. You'll see. After this video is done, just play the video back. It'll be available on my YouTube channel after all this is said, done, and over with. Before the weekend hits. Alright, so we need some HV stuff. Specifically, we need a generator. Or 2. We need a fuel tank. Or 2. And we need a core so we can work with it. And that's pretty much it for our experiment. So we're going to put down. I'm going to flip these. What are you doing? There. Jeez. There's our fuel tanks. There's our generators. There's our core. Experiment ready. Now we can fill our fuel tanks. And we're good. Now, we're going to blueprint this. O. And we're going to save as. Row. Plot. Experiment. 1. HV. Aww. We'll just do it that way. Now we should, in theory, be able to park this on a temperate planet and be able to use it. But we're going to have problems if the temperate planet isn't perfect. So, to make sure we don't have any issues, we are going to envelop this thing in blocks. And kind of build us up a wall. Front. And roof. We don't care if we have internal access to it because it's an admin structure anyways. We're just going to fly through the damn thing. So we'll go ahead and roof to it. Give it the top. Right, fill in the sides. That side filled in. That side filled in. That side filled in. And that filled in. Okay. Completely enclosed box. Last things last. We need a ventilator. So we'll park a ventilator on it. We can use a whole ventilator block or something else. We need oxygen, so O2. Park a couple oxygen tanks on it. Shouldn't need them, but you never know. For the sake of the experiment. If we want to, we could put a door on it for access and all that stuff. To be honest with you, we don't need it for the experiment, so... Now let's give it another blueprint here. Alt-O. That'll allow us to save. HV. Plot experiment. Right. We don't need any motors. We don't need anything else. We just need this container. Now, we're going to go to a live game. Or we could switch modes on this, but it's much easier to just create a new game. You'd have to log out and log back in anyways. So, single player game, survival. We'll just go ahead and start somewhere. Doesn't matter. And we'll load in and we'll give this a test and see if the grow plots work. And this is how experimentation for pretty much everything works. You find some new concept that you want to try. You use your copy-paste tools to copy the devices and cobble something together. Once you feel that it'll work, you take it into a single-player game and you experiment with it. Does it actually work? Does it do what I want it to? Is this too game-breaking for my taste, you know? That's what it's all about. In our case, we try to balance stuff as much as possible so that the players who can't afford to buy the cool stuff off the web store aren't too screwed over by it. Not like they could be. I mean, really, they're just convenience, but yeah, it is better to use as much of the type of vehicle that you're building. It really is. So I used HV generators, HV O2, HV everything. Now, you don't have to wait on the crash. We're going to type in GM. We're going to exit this. We're going to drop down to the planet here. Okay, we're on planet. SBP. IM. We're going to drag in our experiment. The grow plots. Okay, HV's in. Now we need to fuel it and set it all up. So, let's grab some fuel. O2. There we go. And let's fill her up. Alright, she's all filled. Oxygen is on, which means temperature regulation should work. And there's our grow plots. Now, first things first, can we actually plant in the thing? That's always the first question I have. And it says you cannot place this block on hover vessel. So, the reason I did this was I was curious if players can correct mistakes. What kind of vehicle, what kind of support? That's always my first mode. Now you'll notice in the creative game, I did pull seeds out. I'm pretty sure we could pre-plant these on the CV and then put it in here planted. Pretty sure we could do that. Obviously we can't here. So the next question is, can we do this in God Mode Invisible? As you can see, we can't bypass it in that menu. It says see the block attributes for further info. So let's go back to creative mode. That's the first failure we've had. We're going to go through and we're going to resume the game. It was creative. Oh crap. Oh yeah, we were on planet. Let's load it. Didn't take too long. Not when it's not much to load. Alright, we're back here. Now, in creative mode, can we possibly park this inside of it? Probably not. I kind of figured. So we'll have to go back to our CV model here. And we'll plant a full set of plants so we can test the grow mechanic. Now, it's very, very unlikely that this is going to work. So, grab our selection. Drop it down one so that it selects all of it. Or you can just copy and paste the plants. We'll do that. I like that idea. Just copy and paste the plants. All right, now we copy, deselect. Let's go back over to our HV experiment. Go back to this side. All right, we got a good vantage point. Click select. Let's move it up one. Let's expand our selection. Actually, let's paste. See where it tries to place everything. Paste selection again. Plants are in. Remove selection. And then we'll try experiment 2 to see if they can even grow. Right. Escape. And experiment 2 commences. Resume game. Back to survival. Load. Now, we had to do this for the SV drills. We had to do this for generators. We had to do this for basically every device we've ever added to where it didn't belong. It's pretty much how this works. Back to God mode. Let's destroy 1175. That's the ID of the structure. SBP, IM. Bring a new structure. Spawn. Structures in. And they survive. Look at that. We now have plants. Let's go ahead and hit P menu and fill. Turn on oxygen, and we're good. Okay. Now we've got sprouts. Now, plant is not growing because the temperature is too high or too low. But the ones over there should grow. That is probably because of the generator that we're looking at right here. So let's go ahead and go to here. Let's grab a T2 multi-tool. Move that generator. And now they're fine. Temperatures matter, babe. Temperatures matter. I'm glad it at least told us. So we'll come back and check these. They might grow. I have never seen it tell me the temperature was too high before. So there's a pretty good chance that the plants will actually grow in an HV. And if that's the case, that's something new we could do. We could start a porta garden that has everything in it. And as long as you don't screw it up, you get to keep it. I think I did. I think I cracked it. So now this can become a new web store item for convenience. That could become a module people plug into their CVs. You just fly this sucker in here with all the grow plots you can have on it, and you now have a mobile farm that docks to your CV and goes where you go. That is, if the plants actually grow. That's the part I question. And look at that. They're growing. Holy hell. We have growing plants. Isn't that cool? I see plants changing. So this means now that we can now have plants and SVs. So I could take an SV, create a mobile farm out of that SV, and bam, we're able to use it. So something new to look forward to on the web store. If this passes, it all depends on what I find when I pick them and complete the tests. That's really what matters. I don't know if we're going to be able to pick the plots. I don't know if we definitely can't replant. We already found that out. Replanting them does not work. Does not work at all. Something we messed around with. You kind of have to put together a plan either on paper or in your mind and try to figure out what you could do and what you definitely can't do. Some things do require experimentation, as I said earlier. So this is just, one of those cool things that you can do in creative mode to kind of do things for your server or kick up your single player game a little bit or take care of minor things that you find to be inconvenient. Like the fact that I can't grow plants on my SV. That kind of ticks me off. I should be able to have a couple plants on there. I mean, come on. But we can't. Not till now. We'll see if this works out. It looked like they were growing. I've seen some visual changes. So we'll come back and check this in a little bit. Now, some other cool things you can do You can actually do this live on the server as well. Since we're in survival, we could do this. You can spawn POIs and edit them live and make them to where players can interact with them. This is something we were not previously able to do. Something we just about begged for. I mean, yeah, I know. Let's not talk about the game bugs right now. The game bugs aside, game bugs aside. I don't know what the hell. So we can take a base or a POI and we can spawn it so players can interact with it. So we'll spawn, let's say, Dread Arena here, somewhere where we might have a chance of it working, preferably. All right, let's page up, page down, SI off. See if that helps. Try again. Change. Spawn. SI off helps. Sort of now. Okay. So we can't spawn that on the water. I was hoping we might be able to spawn floating structures by now, but apparently not. There we are. Relatively flat enough. I'm happy with it. Alright, so we spawned in Dread Arena, and this is now a POI that players could potentially do something with. Now, normally we use this in admin mode, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the admin faction. Entity. ADM. 1310. Now it is an admin structure, which means on the map it should show up with this little icon. Now, one thing that the player can't do normally is be able to switch this thing on. A player cannot switch it on their own. So it's not a usable POI for a player yet. This is where you get into the logistics system. Now you'll notice there's a portal here, which is normally where players come in, and we have a light here. Now, what we could do to trigger this is instead of using the switch up here in the starter room to kick things on, we could use the player walking in or stepping in someplace to trigger the traps. We could do that. So if a player pops up here in the center, for example, we could put a sensor up here that would detect the player being close. And once the player's in position, we can make it to where the LCD screen changes and notifies the player, hey, the base just kicked on. The game begins in X amount of time. And then this could be an automated structure that players interact with. Now, for me right now, I'm looking at this as a test. So I've got some player out there who wants to run it. I would like not to have to take part and have to manually deal with it and be able to just regenerate the structure when necessary. That is possible now. I'll show you. So we're going to first deal with clearing out the ground. So let's clear out the ground so a player can actually get in this thing. Keep going, keep going. The cool stuff you can do between creative and survival. Alright. Now you'll notice I have a little set of blocks right here. And this is where I normally put different kind of door configurations. What we're going to do is we're going to knock out the portal for this config. Go to God Mode Invisible because it's an admin structure. We're going to knock those out. Alright, we have this block here, which is for this door config. We're going to knock it out. And we're going to drill out the outside a little bit. There we are. And we're going to put a door in here. Let's grab our door. I prefer armored. There we go. Armored door in. Now critters can enter, so can players. We're going to keep power off for now because we're going to be messing with stuff. But we do need to put a little bit of power in the base for it to work. There's already an admin core present. What type of structure this is. or event structures. So we just fill it, shut off the power, and leave it be for now. Now, there are controls up here for dealing with the spawners. There are controls in here for basically everything else. We do not necessarily need to use these controls. Yeah, I agree. That would really help. I mean, I kind of view admins as game masters anyways. And the more flexibility they give us, the more usable the games become and the more dynamic events can be. And I love dynamic events. I really do. Let's grab a sensor switch. We are going to park this in the very center of this place, somewhere. Is the HV version? This must be SVH. Let's pick CVs only. Let's find the switch. Switch. Why are you... There you are. Different place. Alright. We're going to switch to motion sensor. And we are going to put this motion sensor... Let's see here. They are most likely to logically come through here. Up this ramp. Come up here. They could go through this ramp, but no matter what, they will probably go over this location. We can hit P on this, and we can go into devices, and we can change everything about it. We can change how sensitive it is, where it goes off at. We can even move it down to the basement floor so that it detects everything up here. Interactive setup. And you can see how much sensor space you have. Unfortunately, the one thing you can't do is take the sensor down. It only detects from the even plane up. That's it. Just so you know. We'll escape modes. And with that in mind, let's move it down one, shall we? Yeah, this is a good location. Right here. Let's grab the proper one. That sucker back in there. Change it to... It's already motion sensor. And do the same setup. Now, if a player enters the sensor area, it'll trigger. And NPCs can also be set to trigger this. So if a drone happens to fly by and enter this area while they're there, a drone could accidentally trigger the arena on them. So if they decide to use the structure for safety, blah, 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 yada, 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 you get the picture. Nasty. So we do want to set that to NPCs to trigger sensor. Because I'm that jerk. Now we go back to the signal logic for the base, which you'll notice is considerably lengthy. It's a lot. A lot. What we're going to do is hit P, and we're going to name this with signal name, sensor start. Now we've got a sensor start, and we're going to change where the start latch begins the event to something else. In our case, begin event is a switch that exists out here. So let's look for that. There's begin event. We're going to change begin event to sensor start. Now, when they go in that sensor area, this will automatically be triggered. It's only a one-time trigger, but it will be automatic. On the next regenerate, if we put this in as a normal POI, it would just trigger every time a player came in there. First shot. Pretty neat stuff. Now when the player comes in, some unsuspecting player would come in and trigger this damn thing. So, now that we've set that up, we turn on the power. We go in here, we flip the appropriate switch, turn on spawn control. Now spawn control works. And now when a player enters the space, it would trigger the start of the event. Pretty cool. We're going to go and pre-generate here what we can using the GM fly command. So we'll generate a few things here. Through. Back through. We just want to trigger everything here. And back through. Now we've gotten some spawns. Okay. We're going to pretend to be an innocent player. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to blueprint this so that I can use this in the future for random events. that just kind of spawn out here for unsuspecting victims. I mean, players to interact with. And I'll also be able to incorporate it later. So, now that we have everything set up, changed, back to GMIV mode, Alt-O. Now we can save this as Dread Arena, Sensor, save, and we'll show you how the rest of this event works. Now I'm here, now go through, unsuspecting player, tra-la-la-la. Gonna make another change, because Dad forgot that the door needs to be set to lock code 0. O, sensor, right. Try this again. Back to regular mode, tra-la-la-la. Also, eye testing is important. You're human and you're gonna forget shit. Now we're in here, we see some stuff, some rules. We could put information on the screen that tells the player to go to the center to start the match. See some vendors. Let's see, what can we buy from these vendors? There's ammunition. That vendor, that's the security guy. Oh, there's another vendor. Medical. Okay. I see Stuffses. Let's see, what do you have in you? Anything? No. Okay, I didn't think so. All right. So we're going to run our way in here. We're going to hop up top. I heard the sensor get triggered. At some point here soon, door number 1 will open, and we'll have shit dump in. And start shooting at us. It is possible. I mean, I could use a script on the back end to regenerate this specific POI every 20 to 30 minutes and have it announce that that POI has regenerated. I could do something like that. So I could tell it on the starter planet to do that. Yeah, the personal box is unneeded. So this would be a completely self-contained, self-running event that a player could run at any point, potentially, and it'll go through and it'll automatically trigger and run the event. So it'll spawn nasties on them, you know, where applicable, that they'll have to go and fight, and it'll get nastier and nastier and go to the end of the event and then close all the doors. And then half an hour after a player enters, we could have it trigger that the map regenerated. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it would be great for players. It really would. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I have to write a mod to be able to do all that. Because the mod would have to detect that a player hit this POI. Once a player hit this POI, you know, the mod would trigger, a timer would start. When the whole event was done, it would automatically regenerate it and boot the player out of the arena to any point outside. You'd have this thing randomly spawn and detect all that information. Unfortunately, it requires a lot of modding skill, so it's not something we can do right now. But I could manually regenerate it. I mean, that is something I could do. After the player's gone through and killed everything, or players come in and kill everything, it's pretty easy to regenerate. Like, really, really easy. Literally just go over here, type in DI, get the structure information, regenerate 1310, and it'll regenerate in whatever condition I spawned it in originally. Even putting back all of everything that I changed. That's why I blueprinted it before then. And I could set up a timer in EAH to just regenerate the damn thing every day. So once a day, some player gets to go through here, and if they can manage to make their way through, leave a little prize somewhere in the station that they could pick stuff up in. Every time it regenerates, it'll fill these boxes and do all this stuff automatically. So I could put boxes everywhere and put timers in and make sure players are able to find ammunition and maybe weapons. And there's all kinds of cool shit I could do with this arena from this point. All kinds of cool stuff. And I get to test it live with players helping me rather than having to put this in a test server and have to redesign and then restart the server and wipe the playfield, start the server up, get players on, get them over there to test it. They test it up. We find something else we need to change that we forgot about. Shut the server down. Go into creative. See, it totally cuts all that bullshit out. Totally cuts it out. And allows me to test it live and players to make suggestions like you guys are doing now through the stream. Much better. let's go check our grow plot experiment and see what we have. Wheat growing. Ooh, we have growing wheat. So guess what we have, baby? We have a working mobile garden that we can put into an SV or an HV. Which means we could have multiples of these parked in a CV to reduce its class size. Would need a roof or someone would fly in there with a ship. Well, yeah, that's why the detectors are there. So that if they do fly in with a ship, it would still go off. And here's the thing. If we tied the PDA into it, the PDA could automatically spawn drones. You can do that through the PDA. You can actually set up in the PDA to where it automatically gives them a quest for the POI on Discovery. And then when they show up, you could basically set it up a quest chain involving that POI that would give them a reward at the end of it automatically after they kill X number of creatures. So every time they kill creatures in the arena, if they get enough of the kills, they would get automated rewards. And you can have it do other things throughout that. There's not a whole lot of examples of it, but it is something we could potentially do. It's just, again, they change the PDA frequently. They're always editing shit. It's too much overhead for us to continuously take on these tasks. That's why I don't do it. It's because Elion won't leave the shit alone long enough for us to even bother. All the server owners that do, I mean, the reason they're not at their servers a lot, the reason you don't see them very often, the reason a lot of them are really grouchy is because they're constantly having to maintain this shit in the background. It's very difficult for us as server owners when it's so damn time consuming. Yeah, the arena should have a dome on it, and we were talking about somebody putting a dome on the arena so that they had to go in there on foot. That is a conversation we've had. That arena isn't ready for that yet. It's just a demo. This is just a demo to show people what we can do in between creative mode and, survival with the tools we have now. That's the whole idea of this. There's a lot of new potential in the game just based on these things alone, like sudden events that happen. That is something we can do. We can pre-build a whole entire elaborate, crazy POI that we spawn, call an event to it, people come to it, clean it the hell out, despawn the event, and like an Etch-a-Sketch, never freaking happened. POI is gone till the next time we pull it out. So it allows a lot of flexibility in a live server. A lot. More than we've had in the past. Which I'm pretty happy about. Doggone it. Still growing. But at least it's growing. I mean, last season, this didn't even work. Yeah, you could do stuff like that. So we could actually mark a POI in space. And, well, let me rephrase. AI cannot be suddenly spawned in as of yet that I'm aware of. There are commands for it, but none of them actually function worth a crap. That is something else I can show you. A lot of the commands for that stuff are really broken, or they just don't function at all. Oh, too close to the generator. My body's not happy. My bad. So sorry, generator. I'm really happy that that works now. Now I gotta build a garden SV. New work to do. I like new work. And with it being an SV, I mean, if it's something that barely pilots, just enough to get it in your CV and land it, you can park a lot of growing plots in a really small space that won't add to your class size a whole lot. That would save some people on class size. One of those benefits that'll be really nice. Are we still growing plots? Off, back on again, still growing. But at least they're growing. I mean, that much is happening. Let's go back to our POI over here. So anyways, back to the logistics stuff. Or not logistics, the circuit logic. Which I will do an actual video on signal logic. believe it or not, you can build all this stuff outside the game in some engineering tools, and then bring it in and test, and then bring it in knowing it already works. So you can literally blueprint your entire circuit outside the game as a schematic, and then use the schematic to build it in game. It's really simple. Couple of things that are kind of a pain in the ass when your signal logic is this complex. If you put something in, it's going to go at the bottom every single freaking time. So if you're trying to make your signal logic somewhat easy to follow, trying to move this stuff, like let's say this delay here that we have for round's end, let's say we wanted to move that up, it becomes a sudden pain in the ass to do that. We have an event sparker here. It is a set reset latch for dealing with being able to reset the timers in the base and all that. If I want to move this, I can only move it one space at a time. I cannot drag and drop it, which means you have to click the up or down arrow clear through all this shit. And if you're at the bottom and you click up, oh, it used to completely, wow, I'm glad they fixed that. At one time, what used to happen is if you moved things by one up, it scrolled you all the way to the top automatically. Oh, you want to talk about infuriating? Setting up all this circuit like that was a pain in the ass, and that's when I built this. It was such a headache. Yeah, you can use XORs on door to kind of help you to where either this or this works on the door. So when the first signal goes off, it opens it. The second signal closes it. That's how you set that stuff up. Makes it really, really nice to manage that stuff. You can also tie that stuff to LCDs. Like I have the Bertram LCD here. It'll come up and show whatever. When I light that LCD up, I'm lighting it up through these indicators, same as this stuff. So you can definitely get a lot of layers in a circuit pretty quickly using XOR gates and AND gates and stuff like that. It's really nice, and they got these built-in delays that you can use. And now you can't create a loop. If you create a loop of any kind using the circuit logic, it will fail to work, and it will tell you you cannot create a loop. That's why they added separate blinking LEDs. Which I could potentially add an LED here that goes off and blinks along with that signal. I could do that. So we've got lights through the middle here. I could change this light, let's say, to red over here in devices and make it blink. So let's give it a blink frequency. There we go. Let's make it red as a warning. And we'll go ahead and go over to signal logic and set it to on off with the begin event. Yeah, begin event. So when the event goes off and begins and you trigger that sensor, now that light pops on and begins blinking as an indicator that you've begun the event. Something else we could do. Pretty cool stuff like that. Now granted, this isn't the sensor version, but you get the general idea. So if you combine like all this stuff in creative, the copy paste tools, the signal logic, the ability to spawn and despawn stuff live with full functionality, man, it can create some really, really, really powerful scenarios that change on the fly. It's really nice. Really happy with the changes. Let's find our HV structure again. There's our HV. Set up a new marker waypoint by it. And let's find out if our grow plots in our HV, yep, still says they're growing, have actually been harvestable. I mean, they do look like they're functional, but I got to be able to confirm that they're functional first. And then we can go through and create a device that uses them, and it'll be a little module you can add to a CV or a base and have remote grow plots. I mean, it'd be really cool. Then if your CV decides to fail or run out of power, you have a backup power source, so to speak. Cool thing is we could add solar to these and make them mini gardens. That's something else you could potentially do. But I want to get an actual test that we can actually harvest them first. So you could potentially have indoor solar gardens that actually functioned. that does work, believe it or not. The sun passes right through your structure for the most part, so even if it doesn't mount, multiple power sources are great. Yeah, it'll be perfect for Sith if the solar works, absolutely. I just got to find out if they're actually harvestable or not. That's what I'm waiting on. We are in single player, however, so I wonder. Let's turn on debug menu. Let's advance time a little bit. Time. Bang. Okay, we've advanced time a little. Does that actually affect these any? Nope. Did, however, advance time to the next evening. Yep. Well, still says growing. Let's get out of DSL range. 4 minutes to go. Does it actually tell you where, somewhere how long you have to harvest? Oh, next event, 212 seconds. I'll be damned. Okay, so we got 200 seconds before we'll know if they're harvesting. But at least the events work. I mean, that's really cool. I didn't know it told you that information. I'm happy to know that. Yeah, I see it in DI up there. As soon as you said 4 minutes ago, I'm like, okay, he got that information from somewhere on my screen. So we got a few minutes, we'll find out, and I'll go through and finish creating the next test case. Actually, the cool part is I can dual client. Here's something else neat that you can do. This launcher allows me to run 2 different clients at once. So if I want to speed testing along, yeah, I could do the solar test literally back to back. I can go into creative, I can edit it, save the blueprint, go back out to the other client, or go to a different save and pop up solar and see if it works. All right, so here we are. Next client is open. Let's go ahead and go back to our creative game. We'll add solar to that tin can. If it ever loads. It is super slow loading. And I know it'll work on servers, but I don't know if I can dual client while I'm in single player. Not sure if that'll work. About to find. Game. Creative. Load game. Yeah, server error. Not use IP port. Please start only one server instance of the game. Okay, that's what I thought it'd do. So we are kind of stuck waiting and doing this in order. We are very much so stuck here. At least that burned up some time, I guess. That's cool. 74 seconds. Yay. And then we'll see the final stage and if we can actually. As long as nobody knocks any of the plants out of the grow plots, it'll be. Unless it's another growing phase. Yeah, you shush. You shush, farm. I think there's three phases altogether. I'm pretty sure it's you plant it, it's a sprout, and then after a while it goes to stage 2, and then after a while it's pickable. Pretty sure that's how all these. None of them differ. Their timers change a little. None of them differ. 4, 3, 2, 1, bang. Next event and pick up grain. Hallelujah! Hey, there we are. We can create more than a concept. Look at that. And we officially have a garden HP. Yeah, this is nice. Okay. Garden HP is creatable. Let's escape. Let's exit. We have our next stage ready of testing. So let's resume creative mode and test solar. And see if we can get solar to work inside a building. That'll be neat. Something here. Okay. Sorry, looking at. Okay. We'll load it in. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's go GMIV. And let's H. Let's pull in solar stuff from the tree. Our tree. So let's pull in our tree, which is SV, copy paste palettes. I think there's solar already on this tree. Don't quote me on it. Bug menu. Let's stop time because that'll get it. Let's turn time to here. Used to be, there it is, 0. Okay, we have stop time. Good enough for government work. We have solar panels here on this CV section. SV. I do not see solar. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's grab a block. Starter. And then we need the stuff for solar. So those are small solar panels. Solar panels, those and capacitors. Place down a base. Add a handful of blocks to this sucker. 1, 3. Place down a solar. Anything. We want a different solar panel. That one. Well, actually, you can't adjust the slope on it afterward. But mark that sucker and capacitor. Okay, now we have everything we need there. DM. You type in DM, debug menu, and then when you hit escape, you'll see a little hand over here. Click on the hand, and then you change your global time to wherever you want it, and you just move time slider over. Pretty easy stuff. Yeah, I'm not worried about shields yet. I have the one shield in there, to be sure. Yeah, I have this shield. That's the only shield I have there. That's for CV Tech 2. Alright, so let's click in. Let's grab our selection point. And let's grab solar panel. Copy. HV container. Alright, there's our containerized HV for the next experiment. Hit N again. Select. Reselect. Put up one. Paste. And let's go ahead and see how. Because, okay, I did get the box size right. Okay. Now we paste. Paste again. Our selection over. Paste. Paste again. Our selection over. Paste. Paste again. Our selection over. And we'll have one hanging off the edge, but that'll be okay. For all intents and purposes, all we need are 4 solar panels. Next, we're going to grab the cap. Selection. Scale selection. Up one. Copy selection. Move selection. Let's go over here and put a couple of caps on this sucker. So, N. Let's select right here. We're going to move it out by 1. And we're going to paste just a capacitor or 2 onto the side of this sucker. And now we're ready for solar test. Go in and remove our generators. Move, move, and we still have power, people. Oh, 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 we still have power. So, solar, at the very least, does actually work on this. Let's see if we actually see a charge in the capacitors through the statistics panel. Current output, average output, battery 0 of 1600. What are the batteries? It's capacitors, solar capacitors. Yeah, those are the batteries. Sure, those are the Maybe they're just really, really slow to charge because the energy usage is so close. Maybe that's what's going on. If that's the case, let's go ahead and shut off plant grow light. Activate it because all of our power usage. I'll bet Sith would charge them right up. Now, 6. Still says current output. 77. Oh, nope. Okay, we are still not actively charging yet. They're all on. So do the capacitors work for some reason. Needed to store electrical energy and manage solar panel. That could be it. It could be because time has stopped. You're right. Let's double check that fact. Turn it back to the D4. Now time is moving again. Time, statistics. See no life in the battery. Yeah, feel free. Yeah, it might actually take a while. I mean, we have output. We have more going out, or more going in than we have going out, so... We'll hang tight here for a moment. While we perform our experiments, give it some time to attempt it. Let's hit P again. Still no battery charge. So batteries may still be tied to bases. It also doesn't show that working either, so that for them. Oxygen off. Power. Technically, shouldn't have any power draw. All besides the cooler. So they will work to power it, but they will not store any energy. Ouch. That makes solar useless on this. Except for like a quick pop-up garden. That works. Let me see something. Discharging. Our control. Battery, 1 of 800. Oh, that is painfully slow. If that's only a 100. Yeah, I probably could. Done it now. I'm directly above as I can get there. Yeah, this is directly above as I can get. I mean, I could angle it. Then I gotta put on thruster, turn it into a proper HV, and get it out and going. And oh, battery, 1 of 1600. They do charge. They're slow, but they do charge. Okay, so with different stuff, we could probably tweak that a little. If it was directly under the sun and had full charge or full power input and the whole bit, I mean, we might need more solar panels just for that little garden. That is possible. We don't have enough solar panels on. Now the next question is, can we charge it inside a CV? So we're gonna do something. Or yeah, we gotta load it in a CV, which means we are gonna need stuff. So let's grab a few simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need more power, a couple of generators. HV, okay. Thanks. Generator. Using look frickin' thing. Generator. Throw 3 generators in. Then we'll throw a few hover engines on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now we've got our hover engines. They're on a cockpit. The SVHV cockpits. Wants to naturally go that direction, so go. Alright. Now we need thruster pack. Let's grab. Go work. Okay. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Yeah, it'll be fine. We're pulling the cockpit off afterwards. Alright, we've got movement. RCS is on there. We just need to get it onto a ship. Understand, if I build something like this for production, I'm building a whole new HV for this sucker. This is just temporary stuff so I can get her moving. Alright. Now she needs a way to dock to the to the CV. So where are they? They are. A couple of docking pads. 1 docking pad. Angle there. 1 docking there. There's our docking pads on the HV. Alright. Now let's put it in a CV. and see if she still charges. That's the question there. Let's pick out the Caligula, because that'll be the easiest one to do. Right here. This will be our test case. Alright, now down on the ground. Now we'll go over HV test vehicle here. And we're going to bring this thing over. Why did the ramps not? Oh, probably have to manually. Alright. Go ahead and load her up. And she hit a ramp and totally freaking up the ramp. Well, set her down. Alright, we've been docked inside. They're closed. Alright, she's in here. And look at that. Solar panels are still active, even with the cockpit on there. So, being inside a building, totally irrelevant. It is totally irrelevant. This is a little cheaty. I'm not gonna lie. This is a bit unexpected. Huh. So that actually works. Now, charging has gone. Should have gotten a really good charge. Battery 100. Solar is outputting. Yeah, we still have solar output. Oh, it would be if I wouldn't have shut off the light, yeah. That's on a different server. Or a different game save. The growing worked. We were able to grow and pick, like, that all worked. Clear through its life cycle. So I'm not worried about that. I was worried about this continue to work. Now that we have solar charging, we can build a concept vehicle that actually makes use of all this stuff, rather than our ugly freaking box. Which, of course, we're going to blueprint and abuse the concept of. Because now, Ugly Vox is a concept parts vessel that will tear back apart and find an HV that fits what I want, or an SV, and we'll figure out how to put the stuff in it to make use of it. We could actually take one of the surveyors and turn it into an SV with a garden you have external access to. We could actually do that. That is something I'll probably end up doing. But this is our concept, so we're going to Alt-O, and we're going to save our concept HV as grow plot experiment, overwrite, and we're going to convert this to an SV format. Something a little bit more mobile and useful. That's what we're going to try and do. See, those surveyors that I build are actually modules. And eventually there's going to be a CV built that those modules fit into. And then you'll be able to have access to those modules at any point in time. Consider it a drop ship. So you'll be able to take those SVs, drop ship them onto a planet, or do whatever you need to straight from them. Yeah, basically, that's exactly what we're going to do. We could take a huge CV and copy it onto HV blocks. We could convert the entire vehicle. But that's kind of a pain in the ass. Solar panels still don't work well on it. Instead, I have SVs specifically for these kind of tasks. They're very modular and very easy to edit. That's the whole point of them. That's why we built the Surveyor. It's a completely modular, extendable design. Rather than screwing around with something like this is our concept test. That's all this is. I can pop a Surveyor out and edit it. And that's what we're going to go do. So give me a second here. I'm going to end this video and I'm going to come back and we're going to build the concept live. So stay tuned. I shall return in just a few minutes.